Needs to be reminded a year ago he endorsed me for mayor of New York City. This is a blood feud. This is a vendetta again. Italian versus Italian. Yeah, I'm part Italian. I speak more Italian than Como, actually. Don't get me started. That's true. You were born on an island that was provincia of Mussolini. Mussolini had it at the time. No, not really. No? Mussolini had it only in World War II. My father, when he was born, he was born Italian because he was born in 1905 or something. We learn more about you. See? That's a combination of Greek and Italian. That's right, like French guy. Exactly right. Entertainment and informative talk for New York. Streaming now on your smart speakers. Play 77 WABC. Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are here. Real offers, dream vehicle, and it's all waiting for you at Mercedes-Benz Edison. Now's the time to drive the luxury you deserve with limited time lease and finance offers, including the GLC, C-Class, and the cutting-edge EQ electric lineup with over 600 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Your perfect Mercedes-Benz is ready to go. Make this a summer to remember during Mercedes-Benz Dream Days. Visit Mercedes-Benz of Edison, the Tri-State's premier destination for luxury driving. And tell Doug Wells Greg Kelly sent you. Hello, this is Sean Katz-Martinez. Advertising here on WABC is just common sense. Nielsen has said that WABC is one of the leading AM stations in the country. Tell me what we can help you with. Increase your business at reasonable rates cross-country. Email me at cats@wabcradio.com, and I will get back to you and tell you the great deal that you can get on WABC. Email me at cats@wabcradio.com. Station built just for you. Entertaining.
Yep. Good morning.
It ain't going nowhere. World famous and American original. Talk Radio 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays. 77 WABC Chime Time, 9:14, 87 sunny on this Wednesday, July 30th. Good morning. Oh no, I'm late. Lots of cheers and a vigil last night in Bryant Park for the 4 killed in the Park Avenue shooting.
I believe in God, and I believe that when we're in crisis, we have to be there for each other. We have to pray for one another.
NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who attended the vigil, revealed that she's lost not only one of her officers,
Like, share, subscribe.
43-year-old Wesley
Marusha. Like, share, subscribe. New Jersey to Manhattan.
On Nelson Avenue, a photo obtained by the New York Post shows the man in question
Like, share, subscribe. Driving soon.
Elevate every drop in a new 2026 Range Rover Velar for a limited time. Qualified buyers get 4.9% APR financing for up to 72 months. Test drive a Velar today, Land Rover Edison, Land Rover Marlboro, Ray Katina dealerships. I'm Joe Nolan with traffic on Talk Radio 77 WABC. Every weekend, newsmakers are on 77 WABC. Senator Ted Thomas on Alaska's energy gold rush. A key component of the energy part of that bill is all about Alaska. So, boy, oh boy, we have a lot going on. Rand Paul about indicting Anthony Fauci. Will the president have to come in and say that he personally told his assistant to run the auto pad? With Margaret Ross of the Cookies, who didn't expect to be famous.
We had no idea that we would go into the singing like this. We did a lot of background for Neil and Carol King.
Anthony Cumia on Trump's executive order to commit the mentally ill. You got these 10 cities in every big city. Everyone living in these places are mental patients. People have appealed to law enforcement, do something. They say, I can't. Listen to these minicasts and more. Download the 77 WABC minicasts. Everything you need to know in 10 minutes or less. An American original. Talk Radio 77 WABC. WABCRadio.com. This is Sid and Friends in the morning. 77 WABC.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
That is correct. My two youngest sons raised in other men. That is Anthony, who works here now, my oldest son, whose stepfather, as you know, talked to their members in their union hall. They have the flag, so everybody has to take their hat off, parade. And I did the full meeting, the fire and brimstone meeting without the beret. So now there seems to be the top.
I may not be able to talk. I'm going to be so shocked. Look at you.
You're damn right you're not going to be able to talk. But now you also have something in common with me. We were both raised in Canarsie, Brooklyn.
Absolutely. Italians and Jews.
Now I'm about 30
You
years.
guys similarity preacher, right?
No, 30 years older than you two, man. So, Gildersleeve Junior High School, right?
Yep, 115, Gildersleeve.
I went to 114.
You know what they used to do? They used to put
Turn left on County Road 903, Liberty Street.
They had to toughen you up. Those are some tough days, let me tell you.
Oh, well, Canarsie had the best and the worst. And really bad. Real bad. And I had to deal with it real bad. But I tell you this, it was mostly Italian, Roman Catholic, and Jews. The Jews itself being a class. So I was in the advanced classes with them, thank God, because you had to keep up with them. That's right. Yeah, SPs, 7 SPs. Some jumped 2 grades. They went 7 to 9 SP. They didn't even go to 8th grade. That's how bright they were. But then the Italian side, you had some real wise guys that I grew up with who, you had to toughen up to deal with them, or you'd never make it to school and back in one piece. But how did you get along in the real estate business?
In a quarter of a mile, use the right lane to turn right on US 36
I used to
East.
get into corporate housing. It was my way in, and I found it furnished housing in 1991. That was perfect.
Yeah, but real estate agents that I know, because
It's
Nancy,
just a way to make money. I always hustled. I also worked waitress and hostess and whatever I need to do.
In
Nancy
the
worked
feet,
in
money.
real estate, and she said 7 days a week you had to be at the beck and
And
call.
your husband died. My husband died. He had 2 great tumors. I had 2 kids and had a company and I kept it all going.
Wow. Like so many women in New York now, single women raising children. They are the breadwinners. They decide how money is spent. And if you don't keep them safe in this city, that's it for business. They are the majority of the workforce. I can't tell you how many Suzanne Miller say, I can't afford the Uber anymore. I can't afford the elevator. I don't want to pay for
It's funny,
service.
one of the reasons that John asked me to come on today is because I sent him a story which we all talk about, but the exodus of people leaving New York.
Yeah.
And like this is something that's really an issue. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had Rick Scott call me on Sunday morning show. 23,500,000 people in Florida and 800,000 in New York State. In Houston, 7 years ago, it was the other way around.
And the budget is bigger in Florida.
Budget. Let me tell you about the budget. $250 billion for the state, $110 billion for the city. So if you put them both together, it's $350 billion for 19 million people. Florida, 23 million people
And growing.
and growing, and the budget is only $110 billion. New York City, New York State together is triple Florida.
And just in the last 2 years, 112,000 people of wealth whose primary residence was New York City fled to Florida and took with them $21 billion of equity and wealth that have now been transferred to Florida to businesses and investments and such. And that's going to continue.
We lost in the last
2.1
decade
miles.
2
Continue on
million
US
people.
1
2 million people and 140 billion in income. And this Zoran wants to raise the taxes to 2% more. Meanwhile, was it New York State is paying we pay the highest taxes right now. Who's going to stay here?
Well, the corporate tax, 17.5%, 9% of it is the city. Miami, 5.5% corporate tax. Income tax, 9%, right? Sales tax, 9%. And then you have this special MTA tax. You know, when they did away with the commuter tax, they put in an MTA mobility tax on employers and self-employed people to try to skirt that. They always have these special MTA taxes. And now congestion pricing, which is another tax.
So, Curtis, who's going to be left here?
You mean in the race for mayor?
No, I mean, well, that's going to be today. He's coming soon.
Oh, that's right.
But
That's on the
But
podcast.
who's going to be left to New York if this guy wins?
The
Who's going to stay?
The poorest people, because they have no exit, and wealthy people who will have their second apartment here. They will keep a second apartment here, but it will not be their primary residence. So the taxes they will be paying, no income tax in Florida or Texas, will be in another state, south of the Mason-Dixon line. Could be North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. But they're out of here. Tennessee has become a big place where a lot of people love to go. The exodus will continue. The taxes are so oppressive. And I deal mostly with outer boroughs because that's where we're from, Brooklyn, Canarsie. The small homeowners, the mid-sized homeowners, and property taxes rising, electricity rates. Thank you, Andrew Cuomo, for taking Indian Point offline and not replacing 1/3 of the energy. Skyrocketing sewage rates, water rates. You got to buy a garbage can now from the city of New York that's supposed to be rat-proof. They put it out in the streets of Williamsburg. The rats ate right through the garbage can.
And how about the composting?
Oh, man, they were fighting for a while, and Randy Mastro finally convinced the mayor, you better not be hitting people with $350 fines because they don't even know how to separate their garbage from their compost. They just live to find it.
There's other stupid rules in the city. Randy Mastro spoke yesterday at the Police Athletic League lunch. There's so many stupid rules. I forgot what the real estate department was telling me. Somebody has to straighten it out.
There was a lunch yesterday. Did I miss a lunch?
We had Randy Mastro.
Oh, I didn't know.
You missed the free
that?
lunch.
I didn't know.
You missed the
God.
free lunch. And I'm telling you, I could not.
I never go free.
I have a feeling if I was able to show up, I was busy with the campaign, I might not have been able to get into the queue. I would have asked Randy Mastro. Well, you were Rudy Giuliani's deputy mayor. You did this, and this. How come you're not doing it now?
Curtis, how are you going to stop the housing problem?
I am going to protect people's residential housing. I am opposed to you. I am opposed to the city of Yes. I am not letting developers or realtors come into the outer boroughs and destroy residential housing, which is the backbone of the blue-collar working class, because now it's Eric Adams gone wild. It's City of Yes on steroids. They're going to have on the ballot, on the back of your ballot, when you vote for me, obviously Suzanne Miller, you're going to vote for me, Republican or Protect the Animals line. On the back, they have the initiative and referendum. First four of them is to eliminate zoning, eliminate the community board, eliminate the local council person. Basically, a developer will be able to put up a 40-story apartment building with no parking. Imagine, no parking. And there's nothing you can do to stop it in a neighborhood. Come on, you can't do that in Kenosha. Come on.
Okay, we're going to talk about that later, but I think that you're not giving us a solution.
Oh, I am a solution. You have all these apartments in a warehouse. Let's start with NYCHA. 6,000 apartments
Isn't it
warehouse.
well run? Don't you think NYCHA is just such a fantastic organization?
The worst landlord in the city is NYCHA. Is the
By the
city.
way, I understand. And somebody, we should do an
Use the
investigative
right
report. We
lane to
need an
exit
investigative reporter.
In 700 feet,
50% of the
turn
tenants
right
of
on State
NYCHA
Route 93,
don't pay rent.
Grand
Oh,
Avenue.
you have it in your own buildings.
Unbelievable.
Well, remember, ever since the lockdown and
Use the right
pandemic,
lane to exit.
when Governor
Use
Cuomo
the
was
right
in
lane
charge,
to
and he
exit
said you don't
right
have to
to
pay
US
your
1
rent.
South.
You know what it's like in the outer boroughs for a lot of homeowners who depend on the tenant, you know.
What happens to the
Use the
working
right lane to
person that
continue
really
on US
they can't afford it, but you go with a coupon and you could get $2,700, and then you qualify, so you don't show that you're making any money. The system is broken.
Oh, there's no doubt. And you go to tenant landlord court, we provide legal aid lawyers. We pay for them for tenants.
2 years.
But for landlords, especially the small and mid-sized landlords, nothing. You can. There are squatters who have been in apartments for 5, 6, 7 years, and tenant landlord court sides with them.
Curtis, there's 100,000 apartments that are warehoused. Everybody agrees
Correct.
on that number.
Correct.
So there's a housing shortage.
Correct.
What is the motivation behind any of these candidates that they're not putting these apartments on the market? If we have a housing shortage and you have 100,000 held back, why are they not coming on the
Right.
market?
You don't have to wait for 10 years for a new building
Just
to
tell me,
go
what
up.
is the reason for that?
That they don't want to deal with that?
Yeah.
Well, I deal with that because I say you got to sit with the landlords and say, what do you need to put these apartments back on the market? First thing you're going to say, I can't afford to have a deadbeat tenant who doesn't pay their rent because then it's infectious with the other tenants. If they know there's a tenant on that floor not paying their rent, then they're going to say to the landlord, why should I pay my rent? This person, it's like fare evasion.
Housing court.
Yeah, but it's like fare evasion. People don't pay their fare now on the buses and subways because there's no enforcement. It all goes to housing court. We got to make sure it's a fair place where you could adjudicate a situation between a landlord and a tenant instead of having tenants stay 5, 6, 7 years in an apartment without paying rent. That's being a squatter. And yet, the city of New York does nothing about that. I will make sure that that changes, that the playing field is level. There are some really bad landlords out there, you know, slumlords. They got to be
They're
dealt with.
getting a really bad
But
rap.
that's not the mass majority.
Yeah, these little owners are really getting a bad rap. They're locked in the rents, they're locked in the repairs, they're locked in the taxes they have to pay, and they're stuck. And nobody's listening to them. And there's a million of them.
And the Department of Building shows up, hits them with fines. Sanitation Department writes them up fines. Fines, fees, fines, speed cameras, fines. That's all it is. It's tax from the grave, from the cradle to the grave. Let me ask you a question. What kind of a house did you grow up in Kenosha?
I grew up in a middle class, 1249 East 86th Street.
All right, that was
My
on
mom bought it for
89th Street.
$26,000.
Oh, so you owned the home.
We owned it $26,000.
Did you have a
They
tenant?
took all their money. They came. They were immigrants. They would never take any money from the government. It was frowned upon. The government wanted to give them, but they were Holocaust survivors,
Yes.
and the government wanted to give them $30 a month.
Yes.
And they were like, that was disgraceful.
Now-
They would never take money from the government.
Now, what we would do, John, on 89th and J, if there was a good tenant on the block, but they had to leave, they couldn't pay the rent, we would have a rent party on Saturday. All the tenants, all the...
That's when everybody was more civilized.
Yeah, because you knew that was a good neighbor. You wanted to keep them there and help them over hard times because you didn't know who would replace them. So everybody came out and threw $20 in the bucket while we were playing stickball with kids and box ball, stoop ball, and skelly. And they raised the money. They went to the landlord, were paying his rent. You know, he had a hard time. He was laid off or they were on strike. Back then, remember, you might not have been on strike, but nobody crossed the picket line, which meant you could not cross that picket line. You couldn't pay your rent. And the neighborhood would take care of you if you were a good tenant. If you were a bad tenant, they'd say, adios, amigos, get the hell out of here. We're hoping whoever replaces you is going to be a good neighbor on the block. That's the way things were dealt with back then.
And you're going to put it back to that?
Well,
we're all going to participate in people that can't pay rent. I kind of like it.
You can't legislate that, but what you can do is meet with the landlord and say, okay, what do you need to put these units? As you said, there are 100,000 units, starting with NYCHA, starting with rent stabilization, and in the outer boroughs, people oftentimes will not take that second apartment they have once either somebody has died, moved to Florida, or refuses to leave, and then finally they leave. They won't put it back on the marketplace. They don't want a tenant from hell. You got to help these landlords. This mayor and previous mayors, they don't do that.
That came from de Blasio, right?
Oh, de Blasio was the worst. What a deadbeat he was. Remember, he'd wake up half a day work. You know, he'd be smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush at the end of the day with that grifter Charlene. He took $1.5 billion of that tribe money that was supposed to help the emotionally disturbed. Notice it's still out there.
He was on the show. We talked about the warehousing, and he really is against the landlords. He basically said they bought it, they knew, and this is...
He's pro-Mandami.
Yeah.
He's Mandami's mentor. If you want Bill de Blasio 2.0, go ahead, elect Mandami. It's Mandami on de Blasio steroids. He'll work 24 hours, unlike de Blasio, who gave you an 8-hour day and then smoked Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush on the back of the porch of Gracie Mansion. By the way, how can people get your podcast knowing that I'm going to be on this upcoming episode?
WWABC.
WWABC.com for all your podcast names. What's the name?
The Miller Report.
The Miller Report, and you can see it in the cabs.
Everywhere, every taxi.
I want to see me in the
You're
cab.
You're going to see Eric, you're going to see Andrew, you're going to see...
You're going to give you worldwide coverage?
Worldwide coverage.
I can't stay in the back of a cab. Remember, I got shot in the back of a cab by the guys in Gambino. No, it's okay.
I mean, they're calling those people you just mentioned, what size shoes you wear.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see Suzanne Miller's reports in every yellow cab in New York City, the lady in red.
Yep. And now we're going to promote it even bigger.